Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Zero to Empire podcast. In this episode, I have Richard Taliaferro, and he's going to be talking about his story and how he went from journalism to becoming a coach. So, Richard, how did you actually get into coaching and what inspired you to start that business?
Well, I was inspired by someone who actually coached me in the mid 2000s. I was a little bit overweight, and my friend was starting a coaching business for herself as a nutrition coach. And it was very fascinating to me how she was able to help me lose 40 pounds over the span of several months. And I thought that that was a very interesting way of helping people, just sitting down with them, talking with them, and then making sure that they were accountable to themselves.
Yeah, that's great. And that's impressive that you're able to lose 40 pounds. Not everyone can do that. So, congrats to you on doing that. And when it comes to your work background, what actually got you into moving into wanting to be a coach?
So I was a journalist at the Wall Street Journal, a news editor to be exact, for 26 years. I worked in New York for most of my stint there, and with 3 years in Brussels for the Wall Street Journal. And so understanding what the business of journalism is and was at that time, it felt like I needed a plan B just in case, you know, I lost my job or got laid off. And so coaching felt like the right fit for me and my personality. So that's the direction I went in.
Nice. And when you started to get into the whole coaching world, what were the first few steps that you got or did, such as certifications, mentors, anything like that?
Sure. I what I did was, you know, after we had a round of buyouts at the journal, I went, okay, that's, coaching is going to be my plan B. And so I decided to start looking around for coaching schools, coaching programs that I could participate in from home without having to go to a classroom, and found Health Coach Institute to do my first certification, which was in health coaching. I was able to complete that from home while I was still working. So I would go to work during the day, and then in the evening take my classes, work with fellow students. And after 8 months, I got my first certification, which was in health coaching.
Nice. That's really cool. And when it comes to transitioning from journalism to coaching, what would you say was the hardest part?
I think the hardest part is mindset, because I spent, like I said, a quarter century at the Wall Street Journal. It's a long time. And prior to that, I was on my college newspaper staff, my high school newspaper staff, and my first merit badge in Boy Scouts was in journalism as an 11-year-old. So I've been in this for a while, and I wanted to do something that really pleased me. Can we stop down? Because I lost my train of thought. Okay, the hardest part about going from journalism to coaching is mindset. I've been a journalist really since I was 11 years old. My first merit badge was in journalism, and so that becomes who you are in a way. After doing this for decades, and it feels like that's all you know. And I think I had to get curious about what was drawing me into coaching. And it was really about helping people and helping people achieve their goals. And, sometimes, yeah, it feels like journalists might look at coaching as a little bit woo woo. But it actually isn't. It's really about helping people achieve their goals, to make the changes in their lives that they want to make, but they're having trouble doing it on their own. So I would say, yeah, mindset is like the biggest shift that I've had to deal with, and the identity part of it as well.
Yeah, mindset is definitely very important, especially if you're trying something new or taking a risk.
Right.
And how did you actually go about landing your first paying client for your coaching business?
That was actually a wonderful stroke of luck. I put out on my social media platforms that I was moving from journalism to coaching, and was open to working with anyone who wanted to make a change in their career. And by a stroke of luck, a good friend of mine reached out to me and wanted to be coached by me. And so we, we had a short talk just to make sure that we wanted to work with each other. And we started going and coaching together really about a month or so after I launched my business. And about 6 weeks or so after I was laid off from the Wall Street Journal.
Oh, nice. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And when it comes to your ideal client, who are they?
My ideal client is someone who has been in their work for 10 to 15 years. And they are sort of looking around at the landscape at their office and the landscape in the work environment going, I think I want to do something else. I want to have, I want to start working on my dream job, my dream, my dream business. And they feel stuck. And because that's all they know, they've been doing the 9 to 5, the commute every day for a decade and a half, maybe 2 decades. And they want to break free from that. And so I'm looking at that person, who's sitting in their office right now going, yeah, I have to do something different. And I want to help them do that different thing, do that thing that makes them light up, find and help them find the work that works for them.
Yeah, that's great. And that's really neat to focus on the journalism route
Mhm.
because obviously a lot of people are not really doing that. And it's really cool to see someone focusing on that. And so, how do you actually help these people realize that their skills are transferable?
Well, I have a 12-week program that I work with people with. And, each week, our sessions can last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And so we talk about what's been going well for them in the past week. And so to set the table, as it were, to get the session off to a good start. And if they encountered any challenges or obstacles the week prior, we take a look at those and we figure out what happened and what are some solutions that they can work with to overcome that obstacle. And then we'll talk about some new information that we'll bring in for the week. And, it could be a mindset shift. It could be just something fun that they can lean into during the week. Then we'll do an exercise around that new information, and then we'll talk about what their action steps are for the next week, flowing into the new information that we talked about. And then we'll wrap up the session with any ahas or insights they may have come up with during our time together.
Definitely sounds like a solid session. And when it comes to the mindset shifts that your clients make, what would you say is one of the most common or biggest ones that they face?
I think one common one is believing that their identity is tied into their job. I think as journalists, we tend to think that that's all we can do. And once that job goes away, sometimes we go away with it. And I want to make sure that the people I work with, if they're journalists or lawyers or project managers, that they may not have that job, but they still have skills that they can lean into. When I talk to journalists, we talk about the mindset shift from I am a journalist to I do journalism. It's something different that they can involve their skills from journalism that they've been learning and refining over decades to other areas, to other careers where, quite frankly, people want and need great storytellers. And journalists do that very well. And so it's just going from the daily grind of going out, reporting news, writing news, and then putting that online or in the paper to working with a company that has a story to tell, and they're looking for better ways to tell it. And they can go to that company and still have the ability to use those storytelling skills, but in a much different way.
Storytelling skills is very a useful skill to have 100%.
Yeah.
And when it comes to the actually stories of your clients' transformations, which is just one of them that comes to your head that has stood out thus so far?
Oh, wow. I think one is where I've had a client who has been, a former journalist and really started going into their art, their paintings. And it's a sort of a hobby that they had off and on while they were working as journalists, but they never really delved into it until they left their job as journalists and decided to really explore their artistic side, to really go into painting, to really see what that is for them and see how it's been sort of suppressed, and to see that bloom and to see that flower has been amazing to see.
Oh yeah, seeing people change is definitely very important.
Yeah.
And what would you actually say is the most rewarding part of this journey so far? Like, what has it been?
So many different things. I think it's seeing people realize that they can change, that that the idea of them as just doing one particular thing in their life, they can sort of go, wait a minute, I can, I've got, my journalist clients, they have writing skills. And they go, wait, I can use these skills in different ways. And then seeing that light come on for them and seeing the gears start flowing in their brains is very rewarding. And sort of, it's helping people see themselves in a different way.
Yeah, that's very important. And definitely changing people's lives. And when it comes to what's one thing that you wish you knew before becoming a coach?
Oh, I think having more of a grounding on the business side. I got with my coaching certifications, I got some grounding in the business side, but I really didn't have the grounding in marketing that I needed to have. And part of last year, I worked with a marketing coach, and she really helped me define what types of marketing, what styles of marketing are going to work best for me to reach my clients, reach potential clients. And that's been an education in and of itself. And being, it points out to me that as a coach, I have to be coachable, and having that experience helps me be a better coach. So I would definitely say that the marketing part of it has been sort of the thing.
Yeah, marketing is very key to a business.
Yeah.
And what would you say is a long-term vision for your coaching business?
Long term, I'm looking to have, looking to work with dozens of clients and seeing those clients succeed on their own terms, and not necessarily succeeding on a boss's terms or succeeding, on like numbers and things like that, but succeeding on terms that make them happy. So that's one thing. Yeah, I want to broaden out my list of services. I want to devise courses for people to take, to help them think about their careers again in a different way. And I would love to do small group coaching as well. It's like sometimes I love working one-on-one with people, and sometimes working in a small group where everybody is contributing can also help everybody in that group grow together and relate to each other better.
Sounds like a solid plan. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
And where can people actually contact you to get coaching?
They can reach me at richardtaliaferro.com. And my email address is richard@richardtaliaferro.com. And I'm on social media as well. On Instagram, I'm Rich Tally, RICHTALI.
Solid. Yeah, go check him out to get him be a client of his for his coaching business, especially if you're a journalist. It'd be a lot of help. And yeah, thank you ever for listening or watching in for this episode of Zero to Empire. I'll see you on the next one.